He didn't tell her any of the experiments that we had done there, didn't say anything. And she was deaf also. And I can't remember if she heard anything being deaf, but I know that she saw things. And apparently she saw this great big, because tulpas are big, she saw this
Yeah.
great big
Well,
thing,
they can
and
be.
they can be. I
They can
mean,
also be quite small.
big. Yeah, I made him big. I made him like really big. And
Okay.
so that's what she saw. And we hadn't told her anything. And she was seeing things all over the house. And she was seeing him, this thing with a head that would just like vibrate really fast back and forth. And it just scared the crap out of her. Absolutely freaked her out. And so I guess he had to come clean and tell her what we'd been doing. And um, uh, and then I decided, oh, well, let's see. Oh, yeah, I decided, hey, that was such a success. Joshua was trying to create a tulpa um, because he felt like, for example, like Santa Claus was a tulpa. You know, you bring this thing that doesn't exist and has never existed into being, but the belief in it and talking about it so much and it becoming real to so many people,
Yeah,
maybe that is what.
interrupt for a second.
Yeah.
In 1977, a fellow named Itzhak Bentov wrote a book called Stalking the Wild Pendulum. And he explains the process by which that happens. Essentially, it's the continuous feeding energy into this whatever. This is how you create gods. This
Oh.
is where gods come from.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Wow.
I
I,
did not know that.
I wrote about this in my yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to read
So yeah,
that.
I'm well familiar with all of this. Yeah. Uh,
Well, you remember hearing the story about the author that oh my gosh, I can't remember his name and I can't remember. He wrote, he was really prolific. He wrote all of these books about, I don't know, like these
Was the
superheroes. And
shadow? It was the shadow
yes, that's it.
Castaneda.
part.
It, and that after I don't know if he died or he moved out of where he was living, other people were living there and they are reporting that they are seeing basically the characters from his novels in the house.
No,
They
that's
are
not
seeing.
Castaneda. He didn't claim he didn't write fiction, or at least he said it wasn't fiction. Whitley Strieber.
No, this
No,
is the guy that wrote the shadow. You remember the old, the only the
Oh,
shadow
Max
knows.
Brand.
Yeah, yeah, that guy. Yeah, that's. I think that's him. Yeah. When did this happen, Shelley? Like back in the 30s, the 40s, somewhere in that time frame? Do you
something
know?
like that. Yeah.
That would have been okay. Yeah. Hmm.
Oh,
And they
Because
were
he
it was
actually, yeah, they the fellow who wrote The Shadow, and I think Max Brand was a pen name for somebody else. Uh, but he wrote the person who wrote the Shadow books, the little paper, what they were reissued as paperbacks in the 70s. He actually wrote books on psychic phenomena and how to be psychic and how to do psychic stuff.
I did not know that.
Yes, back when Parker was publishing hardbacks. Yeah.
Very cool.
yeah. I mean, and again, Shelley, this kind of goes back to what we were discussing earlier. Why do your spells work? I mean, you were able to sit there and focus. Your intent was to create a tulpa and use that little tiki doll as your model, as something to focus on and to transmit or to translate that into something that became a part of reality.
Mhm.
Right. Well, I did, and I did it when Joshua did his, experiment with Santa Claus. I was thinking outside the box, and I decided to create a tulpa that I was gonna think outside the box, and I was gonna improve on what we had done. I decided, well, since he's going to be mine, I am going to actually imbue him with characteristics that would behoove me, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and I knew that I wanted him to be here in my house, and I decided to create a sexy Santa tulpa. In fact, I
Okay.
didn't know where he was going to be in my house, but if he happened to go into my room, I did not want to wake up to something, really gruesome looking at me.
Oh,
But hey, sexy Santa tulpa. So yeah, I concentrated on the things that mattered to me. I made him to like redheads. I made him to like cats. I made him to, protect me and my cats and my house. And he grew very strong. I got some really, really kind of creepy um, things that happened. And I know it wasn't my imagination. I had physical things that happened in my house.
mhm.
Also, we always thought that our tulpa would only stay in the place that we created it. We had no idea that it could travel.
Oh yeah,
And
they could go all over the place.
I had no idea. So
Mhm.
one showed up at the studio one night when we were gonna record. Speaking of strange, and it ended up knocking over the fan in there, and none of us were around it. There was no reason why that thing should have been, and it looked like it had been purposely knocked over, not just accidentally, but it was with force. And so yeah, that was pretty interesting. But yeah, I do feel like my tulpa protected my house. And Joshua sent a cursed voodoo doll. Well, two cursed voodoo
Oh
dolls.
yeah,
Turned out.
yeah, that's a typical
Okay.
Joshua P. Warren gift. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think that he meant to, but I think that maybe some people were a little fed up with tourists and thought, well, I'll give them something real. And so I picked them up from the post office. We were doing a show that night. I gave Sam one. He was our producer. I had one. Mine was so cute in a very weird, creepy way. And the very next morning, I getting ready for work, and I couldn't find my cat Lola. I'm calling out to her. She doesn't come. I'm calling her again. I don't hear her. I'm starting to feel a little frantic because she always comes. And I thought, all right, just get quiet and listen. And I heard this faint scratching. And I found her behind the wall in my laundry room. Now, I don't know how she got back there. She was awfully happy when I found her,
Well, I'm sure she
but
was.
yeah, so I felt like I felt like she had been protected from anything happening to her, and I had something else that had happened later that night. And so I call up Sam and, hey, have you had anything happen to, since you got your voodoo doll? Just anything. And he says, oh, no, no, I don't think so. But, I had this freak accident, and I fell over some stationary chairs, and I'm in the emergency room. They think maybe I
Oh.
damaged my spleen. He actually said
Sometimes,
his kidney.
sometimes you have to use radionics to clean that stuff out.
You do.
At one time, I have a favorite story of mine.
Oh,
Back in the
tell.
80s, elderly couple that lived next door, dear old friends. Yeah, the Curtis's, Hank in Virginia. And they took the once in a lifetime trip to Hawaii. And whenever anyone lands in Hawaii, they're warned, don't take any of the volcanic stuff, don't bring it home. Well, they, like everybody else, they ignored it, and they brought home this beautiful piece of volcanic rock. And as expected, disasters happened. I think Hank actually broke his arm or something.
Oh,
And they didn't know what to do with this. They, oh my goodness, we've got this in. And I said, give it to me. I'll take care of it. So I took this piece of volcanic rock and I totally wrapped it in foil, so nothing was showing, and clipped it, alligator clips, plugged it in the machine, and essentially balanced the energy out of it, cleaned it
Very
up.
cool.
Very simple process. And after about a week, tested with the pendulum, it's clear, fine. Unwrapped it, gave it back to the neighbors who put it, and it lasted forever for as long as they lived on their shelf. And, I sat there thinking, Pele thinks she's a match for Uncle Chuckie.
Yeah. Chuck.
Some
Christ.
stupid goddess is going to be a match for me. Yeah.
Well, I'm very glad that that turned out well. I had a friend whose family went to Hawaii. They got a piece of they got a rock. They brought it
Whoops.
back, and one of the sons was in a car accident and died.
Yeah.
So after that, they sent it back. But I am so glad that it didn't get to that point before
I'm glad
they
it didn't,
gave
too,
you.
frankly, because I really liked the Curtises. And, like I say, it was a simple matter to fix. Very simple.
Yeah, but most people don't think of it that
But they
way.
don't understand that. They don't understand they don't know what we can really do.
Right. Even we aren't really sure what we can do. We
Well,
just
that's
do
true.
it.
I never cease to be surprised.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Well, how do you normally clean out like negative energy? I mean, what kind of things do you do to do this? I mean, do you use like sage, like the burning of sage, or what do you do, Shelley? I'm just curious. Hello, Shelley. Oh,
Shelley.
Sorry, I
oh.
thought you were talking to Chuck.
No, I was talking to you.
Oh, what do I do to what now?
Like to clear out each
Clean out stuff.
thing. Yeah, like what Chuck was
Oh,
doing. How do you do it?
it just depends. On what it is. I don't have any real set thing. I mean, I have used, I have burned sage before and put out black salt and um, you know, things like that. But it depends. I mean, if you feel like you've been crossed or cursed or something like that, agrimony is amazing. There are a lot of different things that you can do. Basically, I don't know. Whatever it is I intend to do, I think it just pisses me off, and I get in touch with my inner bitch and go from there. Um, one time I
Yeah.
had one time I had something that was trying to and it tried on three different occasions, and each time was much worse, much more violent, and the last time it tried to pull me out of bed. And I remember just being really pissed off. And I remember doing the sage. I remember doing the black salt. I remember telling it that if it ever messed with me again, I was going to make myself bigger than it was and I would eat it.
Oh,
I haven't had any more problems.
Well,
good for
you
you.
can't do that.
Mhm.
One time, this is what, 1993, I believe. It was at a friend's house. A couple friends and I were visiting this person. And we were sitting in the living room, and it was winter, and it was cold outside. And the furnace is going, and the furnace is going, and heat is coming in the room, but the room keeps getting colder and colder and colder.
Yeah.
This is weird. Well, it turned out by some mystical means, which I do not remember, because I didn't have any equipment with me, we determined that there was something in there, and it was trying to do harm to one of us. So basically, what I did is I said, okay, let me work, and I essentially visualized myself as the god Horus. No idea.
Ooh,
And then I opened my mouth and I swallowed it.
good for you. Like
And
the
it worked. I
little
mean, the
guy
heat
it
started
was.
working, the room heated up and everything. And yeah, I just devoured it, whatever it was.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that is so cool.
Mhm. I'm Uncle Chuckie.
Yes, I am Uncle Chuck. Yes.
Oh, man. Oh, well, I tell you, this has really been a fantastic conversation. It really has. And I tell you, Shelley, I really, I mean, you even talked about things I didn't know about tonight. And I really enjoyed myself. And, but,
That was fun.
oh, yeah, yeah, it was really
Too.
great. Well,
We could
thank
go a
you.
couple more hours. I mean,
Yeah, well, heck, if you guys want to continue on, I'm game. I mean, it's up to you. I have nothing to do here except uh, if you guys
I
want to continue. I mean, uh, trying to think of. Oh, Shelley, do you remember when you and Josh went over to Romania to the castle? Uh,
Yes.
yeah, could you? I discussed this before, and you were actually were there when this happened. Could you tell the audience about the a little bit of paranormal activity that was going on inside the castle when you guys climbed up that huge flight of stairs and you finally got in there and started doing your investigating? Did y'all have some kind of issue with little pebbles?
Well, we had an issue. Hmm. We had, well, first of all, in the first castle, a couple of us had a problem in. Problem meaning that I walked into one of the rooms and I got strangled. I
no.
mean, I did. I walked in there and I am like kind of bored, because you can only look at so many ornate doors. And all of a sudden, all of the air whooshed out of the room, and I felt two thumbs pressing in on my windpipe. And it was only for a few seconds. And then as soon as it was over, I told the first person that I happened to be next to what happened. And then there was another lady that ran up to me and said, "Oh my gosh, the same thing just happened to me." And we had a couple of other things that happened in another hotel. We didn't realize our hotel was haunted. And I don't know what it is about Romanian ghosts, but they like throwing rocks. And there was one castle. I think it was
Was it
uh
Vladimir Teller? Was that the one?
I think it was Hunyad Castle, and that was the one that Vlad was he
Yeah.
was imprisoned there for a while, few years.
Mhm.
And there were rocks thrown in there. Um and Joshua, we split up. He had a group of people, and I had some people. I know that one of our hosts was Dave Schrader. I remember him asking me, "Okay, where do you think we're gonna have activity? What do you think?" And I remember telling him, the bear den, the well, and the walkway. And I remember we had things happen in different places. The one place that they thought things were going to happen was this room that had been opened up just for us, and I believe a priest had been walled up in there alive. Nothing happened in there. I knew nothing would. And then we walked out, and there was this. Everybody saw this full body apparition in the walkway. But now Joshua's group of people, I believe that they had, you Brad were working with him with radionics to make
Right.
certain things happen in certain parts of the castle.
That is correct. Hmm.
And they did. From what I understand, everything there was lots of activity in the certain places that you and Joshua had agreed upon to work on.
Yeah, what I did, he sent me a floor plan of the castle, and I went through the thing, basically sort of dowsing, taking a pendulum and going across, different parts of the castle. And I was getting hits. I think it was in the ballroom. If memory serves me, the ballroom or the meeting room is like a like a major. There's a major room or a major space in the ruins, where the hell have their meetings and yada yada yada. And I think that's. Do you know if there any activity was going on there, like remember the rock thing or whatever? Because apparently that was a big deal with some of the guests or some of the people who were doing the investigations. up there, and that fascinated me as to what the heck was going on with this rock throwing. I'm like you. Apparently, it's just something that's that's a part of that culture. Um,
Well, now you have
Yeah.
haunted here where rocks and things get thrown. I mean, I kind of put that in with the three scratches thing. Three scratches, rocks thrown. It seems like it's a sort of ghostly custom. After you die, you go through this orientation. And basically, they tell you this is what you do, and two things. When you scratch people, you hold your little finger and your thumb together, and you just use the three middle fingers. And also, if there's any rocks or small objects, these are the things you throw.
Well,
This
we
is
had
this is
some family.
customary. People expect it. Like,
I never thought about it. And Patty and I, Demented Patty, we were, like I said, we didn't know that we were in a haunted hotel. It was like 400 years old, but we didn't know it was haunted. And this thing was in there. She had gone back to the room early. She wasn't feeling well. So she went back to maybe go to sleep. And when I finally got up there about 3:30 in the morning, I walk in and it's really cold in there, but the windows are open. So I thought, well, that's it. I went, brushed my teeth, came back out, and I thought, it's really cold in here. It feels colder in here than it felt outside. And I was outside for quite a while. But I thought, well, I'll just sleep in my clothes, and I get in bed and I had just laid down and there was this thing that was in the chandelier. It was black and like teeming, and then it like came down and started like flattening out like it was going to cover me. And I sat up and I'm breathing heavy and I'm trying to find this thing in the dark because I didn't know what I was going to do. I was going to do something when I caught it. I was going to catch it. But that room, and Patty woke up and she's like, I thought I heard you come in. I heard you rustling around at the foot of one of our beds in our packages. And she shown her flashlight app and there was nobody there. I hadn't been there, but she said that she felt like there was something in the ceiling that was watching her. And us ghost people, we can sleep through anything. She fell asleep and then, thought she heard me, didn't, fell asleep again. I came in, she woke up. So we just started, the room kept getting colder. Like you were talking about with your friends, the room just kept getting colder and colder. And so we decided, okay, we're gonna get out of our beds. We're gonna grab whatever equipment we have and start talking to it. And then we started hearing all these rocks being thrown, like these little pebbles or marbles or something. And it sounded like it was concentrated at my bed. We moved furniture, we looked under things, we could not find one single rock, but we kept hearing it. We don't show fear, especially me. I've had things happen since I was little, so you just don't show fear. You don't give whatever is there any extra energy. And I remember at one point I said, we're from the 21st century, and if you're trying to scare us, you're going to have to try a little harder. And at some point, it just like threw all of its rocks at us. You could hear it was just done with us. But at some point, we had opened the door up to the hallway, and we thought, well, we woke everybody in the hotel up, surely. Well, we didn't wake anybody up. It was dark out there, but it was really, really warm in the hallway. But the warmth from the hallway never crossed the threshold into our room, and it just kept getting colder. So anyway, this thing it was just mad. It was throwing all of its rocks at us. And I said, look, we are tired and we're kind of bored. So we're going to go to bed. But if you want to talk to us, we'll leave this recorder on. And, maybe you want to do something, I don't know, maybe like shake the hotel or something. So the next morning, we get up and we're telling everybody what happened, and we found out that there had been an earthquake that night. Um, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I think that she
I love
caught a
making
picture.
earthquakes.
Yeah, she caught a picture of me with this thing flying through the air. She said, I caught the rock, and you can see it flying through the air at you or over your head or something. We've got the picture. And so, yeah, cold. Um, I don't know what it was. I mean, it felt pretty old, but it just couldn't rattle us. And like I said, ghost people can sleep through anything. So we went to sleep after that. We had a good
Oh,
night's sleep.
jeez.
We were
Oh, man.
fine.
Said something to the effect of, "We're from the 21st century. We have stood on the moon. You need to do something more than throw rocks to impress us."
I should have. I should have. I was a little pissed off. How dare something throw stuff at me, even though that was what I was really there to experience. How dare it do that?
I said, or
So,
you could have said, "Hey, stop throwing stuff at us. There's this big tall guy there at the bar. Throw things at him."
yeah, throw things at him. We'd like to see that. Show me throw things at
Bounce
this
rocks off his head.
guy.
Oh, man. Oh, that's hilarious.
I will admit, I watch Ghost Adventures, and I'm always saying, why doesn't Zach say, "Throw something at the bald guy"?
Because he's always telling the bald guy to do the things that he doesn't want to do.
Yeah,
Hey,
no, hey, don't throw things at me. Throw things at him.
Oh, man. Jeez. Wow. Oh, Shelley, you went to the museum out there, didn't you?
did I what?
Did you go to that museum out over in Las Vegas?
Yeah. Oh, it was
Ghost
so cool.
museum. That's
Oh,
The,
yeah. You know what I thought was the creepiest thing there was that little dwarf, that woman that was dressed up like a doll that was in the doll room. You
yeah,
remember that? Oh God! Oh, that
that
just
was.
creeped.
One of our friends, she just about died. She was so creeped out. She was so scared. And at one point, she turns to me and she's like, is that real?"
Oh man!
Oh, yeah, it
Oh,
is.
oh
There,
yeah.
there, there were some really, really scary, intense things there. Now, if I had been a tour guide there, I would never have let myself be in that building alone. Um,
Oh,
and I'm a brave person, but there was some really messed up stuff there.
oh yeah. Tell Chuck about that. What exhibit did you think was the most screwy? I mean, the thing that really you just this is not for me. I'm getting the hell out of here.
Um, the well, first of all, there was a particular serial killer room, and you
Oh.
saw that was disturbing, just on a psychological level, not necessarily a paranormal level, but it was just pure evil
Hmm. Hmm.
in a psychological way, because you see a video of this person, um, that is carrying on this conversation with someone, and he sounds very normal, and he's just recounting events, and oh,
Mhm.
there's nothing to see here, and yet you see the evidence of what he has done to other people right in front of you, and
Mhm.
you know how many people he has just terribly brutalized and killed, and you see the evidence, and that was hard. um
Mhm.
but you had other artifacts that were just really creepy. A lot of people got sick and upset around Peggy the doll, the one that
Oh,
supposedly there was
yes.
some
Peggy
evil
the
spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was uh I was fine. I spoke to Peggy, and I was very respectful, and we were good. I didn't have any problems with anything. But there were just different rooms, different artifacts that were just a little that were heavy, that
Yeah.
felt like there were things on them. It's not like anything had been cleansed before it was brought in there.
No, that would spoil the effect.
Oh, it would. Yeah. And I
I
read
mean,
where
you never
his
cleanse an
lady
original John Wayne Gacy clown painting. You just don't do that.
Oh
do
God, yeah.
Of course, I met John Wayne Gacy, so you can't go by me.
did
I
you
really did.
really? While he was incarcerated or before
No,
you had
before they caught, about 2 months before they caught him.
What was that?
Whoa, what happened?
See, I lived in a suburb of Chicago near where Gacy did all his things, and Gacy was a very prominent man in all sorts of local stuff. And that was in my apprentice junior civic leader days. And I met John Wayne Gacy.
Wow. Like a
I think that's what motivated me to get out of politics.
Oh,
Oh,
you mean that? You mean that
yeah.
the Moose Club or something? It's like the Moose Club or something.
Yeah, Moose Lodge. It was actually, no, the story is really very funny. The long story is my next door neighbors, the ones of the volcanic rock. After my father died, they got this brilliant idea. Well, they got talked into joining the River Grove Moose Lodge. God alone knows how. But they did. And they got this idea that my mother, who they should meet people, and why I would hate anyone so much that I would want my mother to meet them, I don't know. But don't get me going on my mother. But should join the women of the Moose. Okay. Only one problem. To do that, there had to be a male relative who was in the Moose. I got tapped. Well, John Wayne Gacy was a big high mucky muck in that Moose Lodge. And so that's how I met him. And then a couple months later, he was caught.
Wow.
And there
So,
were people that he had done work on their houses. They'd been in parties at his house.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah. I mean,
Creepy.
beyond creepy. Beyond creepy. There, I will
they
tell you from
found
experience.
bodies
There is
underneath his house, right?
nothing as creepy as going into a house where a couple people have been murdered and the family is still living there.
Oh man, has that ever happened to you, Shelley?
Yeah, I don't know if
We had
it's creepy.
I lived in my family and I, we lived in this house. I was just a teenager, and I kept feeling like there was something there. I had things happening there. And I remember talking to my dad one morning at work and telling him about it. And I said, nobody ever believed me when I told them that these things happened. And he said, no, if you remember, I never said I didn't believe you. And then he told me that shortly after they had bought that house, one of the neighbors came over and told him that there was a lady that was bludgeoned to death in our house. Now, I never felt her, but I felt two men and a cat there. And there were times when it was very creepy. And uh yeah,
Oh, so you lived at a murder scene.
yeah, I did.
Oh,
Oh,
that can be really, yeah. Um, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, and is there a difference between the feeling of somebody that's like been shot in a drive-by in a house or somebody that was the victim of a serial killer? I
I would
I
think
don't know what the
a
energy feels like.
drive-by and a serial killer might be about the same because there's an impersonality to it. Okay?
Right. Okay.
Somebody being bludgeoned to death, there's a lot of emotion involved in that
Yeah.
because that's work.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You think about killing somebody, there is a lot to that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, somebody's going to get killed that way. There is work to that. That is not usually. I mean, we're not talking like Tony Accardo, who, when he worked for Al Capone, got the nickname Joe Batters because that was his way of killing people.
Ooh.
But that was his business. But normally, if somebody's bludgeoned to death, there's a lot of emotion involved in swinging whatever it is that they bludgeon them with.
Right. There is. There is a lot of.
Yeah. Even if you kill them with one blow, I mean, there's a lot of emotion there, and that emotion permeates everything.
It does. Now, there are people, in this Facebook group that I run, and I see other groups where there are people that are like, oh no, I don't ever want to live in some place where somebody's died. That's terrible. Well, my gosh, there have been a lot of people that have died.
Well,
You
the
really
truth
can't.
is, if you have a house that's more than a certain age, yeah, somebody's probably died there.
He's probably died there. When you're walking around someplace, you never know what was a cemetery. You've walked all over where people have died before.
Of course.
Sometimes there's nothing there. Sometimes
Most
you
of
don't
the
feel
time,
anything.
there is
Yes,
nothing.
most of the time there is nothing there. Sometimes there is. Sometimes sometimes it just plays itself over and over like a record. There's nothing intelligent about it. But I tell you something, I would not want to be at Fox Hollow Farm. You remember the serial killer Herb Baumeister? Remember, he
No.
was picking up men at the gay bar. He was bringing them back home, and I think he was strangling them in the pool inside the house. There was a pool inside the house, and then he was burying the bodies in the back, but he wasn't doing a very good job at it because his wife and his kids would occasionally find bones.
Well,
That video has been
the name barely rings a bell. It's not something I normally pay a lot of attention to.
right. Well,
But yeah, I mean, you get something where that's going on, yeah.
they're saying now with their new owners. Well, I don't know if they still own it or not, but it was I think the woman was a coroner, so she was used to things like this, and they had a friend that was living in, I guess, the guest house, and they were having things happen. They were seeing things, and the poor guy in the guest house, it was like this guy was after him, and he seemed to be a more it was like he found a way to come back and terrorize people after he was gone. And I was reading about death row ghosts, and apparently Ted Bundy has also found a way to come back and you know smirk at people and carry on conversations with prisoners and with prison guards and freak them out.
Well, there are a whole bunch of some of the more famous, like the Curse of H.H. Holmes, where he came back from the dead to kill the jurors and the judge and that sort of thing. But there was a fellow. They did a documentary about him. His occupation was refurbishing electric chairs so they could be used. Strange little man. But before he would go to work, he would take Polaroids of the chair, so he would know what he was going to work from and what it was supposed to look like when he was done putting it together. Make sure there was no extra parts laying around and that sort of
thing. Oh, we don't need those.
Yeah, we don't need this screw to hell with. But but one of the pictures, and he showed it in the film. There was someone sitting in the chair.
Oh my gosh.
And it was not a blob. This was a clear person.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Could you see through the person, or were they solid?
No, this person was solid.
Solid. That's how I see people. Dead people, they're solid. I don't see transparent. I don't see through them. So I was just wondering how it turned out.
Yeah, but that picture, if I remember correctly, it's been years since I saw the film, was solid. And he said,
Wow.
I have no idea what this is.
I bet. Did he show it to somebody? Could they actually say,
He
"Oh
showed it
yeah,
on
by the
film.
way,
The film
it
was
was"?
called Mr. Death or Dr. Death or something like that. Mr. Death, I think. And he showed it on the film.
Do they know who it was?
No.
Did,
There were so many. I mean, it's just, some poor devil that was innocent and got railroaded. I mean,
yeah.
um, but
Yeah. Well, Shelley, how long have you been able to see dead people? I know. When did you start realizing that you had this ability?
I was 4.
And what happened?
I was on a Sunday drive with my parents and my grandmother and my brother, and my brother and my grandmother were sitting in the back seat with me, and I don't even remember where we were driving, but I remembered seeing wherever it was. I remember there being a not a gully, but just a part of the road that just it was I mean almost like a ravine sort of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing a woman, and I remember thinking to myself, well, why doesn't she have any clothes on? Because I remembered it was I mean, she's laying there. She has no clothes on, and so as a kid, you're thinking, oh, well, she's just laying out in the sun, and I was thinking, well, but it's cold outside. Why would she be doing that? So nothing I was seeing was making sense, but I've got this little kid voice, asking these questions to myself. And, thinking back on it, she looked like she had been posed. And I noticed that nobody saw what I saw. Nobody, nobody was paying any attention. I think we were all looking probably in the same direction, but I'm the only one that saw it. And I think it was more of a memory of something that had happened long ago rather than, oh my gosh, there's a dead body there, we should probably call the police or something. Nobody saw it. No one saw anything but me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was the first time.
Oh, jeez. So basically, it's kind of like the movie The Sixth Sense. I mean, you're able to, I see dead people.
Yeah, not all the time. I think that I have this like internal um sensor, for only the stronger things, because if you see everything that's around you all the time, even if that's not very, very strong, I think there's a point at which it would just drive you crazy.
Oh, I can understand that
yeah,
completely.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And frankly, we have an awful lot of crazy people who have exactly that problem.
Yeah.
And
And
they all get in touch with me.
oh,
What's that say about you?
you're talking about our customer base, Chuck.
I know. I know. Well,
Oh,
these are the
man.
ones who aren't customers. These are the ones who want it free.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, those are the worst ones. I
Oh,
got.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm not a social welfare agency. Limos are expensive.
and Shelley is witness to this. Every time I ever did something for free, try to help a person out or whatever, it always bit me in the butt. They always want
Yes.
more. They kept, they asked a million questions. I mean, I never had a problem with a paying customer, but yeah, you try to do something quote unquote for free, it's going to cost you.
Mhm.
And it cost you a lot.
And sometimes the paying customers are almost as bad.
Ah, not that bad. I've
Oh,
known.
I will tell you, I had one. I had to tell him, look, there are a lot of good instrument makers out there. Buy from them. Leave me alone.
Oh man.
Yeah, this one was really bad. This one
Oh,
was bad. I had to mark everything he sent me as spam.
Oh,
So
really?
everything from him would be in the spam folder, and I wouldn't have to see him. It was that bad.
So what was he doing? Like asking you every question in the book,
He
like how many
kept
books?
asking the same question: "What is the best machine for me?" And I kept telling, and I told him 4 or 5 times, "Look, you have to determine that for yourself. I have no idea what the best machine for you is." And he's typing it all caps, and I said, "To hell with him." He said, "Go bother." I said, "Honey, go
Like you
bother
shout.
somebody else."
Yeah, I mean,
So I sent him to somebody I know who makes them. Let him go crazy.
oh,
Uh,
yeah, oh man, yeah, and he's gonna pay for that. Oh God, yeah.
should have sent him to Josh. I really.
Oh, thank you, Chuck.
You're welcome, Brad.
Oh yeah, we every once in a while I like to tease Chuck or not tease Josh. He's just I love him like a brother, but he sometimes he can be an easy target. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean he is. There are times it's just you can't resist, like the Dracula dust.
oh, oh, yeah, the Dracula dust wand, or oh yeah, hey, for some people that probably work great.
And sure it does. People believe enough in it. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you
Like
think
I
of?
say, one of these days I'm gonna vacuum the carpet here if we ever get the vacuum cleaner out of the closet, and I'm going to and I'm going to market this as Uncle Chucky dust.
Oh
And,
God.
Somebody is going to email you
relics of
wanting
Uncle
these
Chucky.
tomorrow.
They can put on their altar and buy my picture and
Oh jeez. Oh man. Shelley, have you ever used wands in what you do, or is that just not really your tool of choice?
Wands?
Yeah,
No,
wands.
I haven't. I mean, I have some, and I have some beautiful ones, but it's just not something that resonates with me, that I'm called to use. But they're pretty, and I believe that they are, helpful for a lot of people, but it's just not. They're just not for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just not your tool. It's just like for Chuck and myself. I mean, turning a few dials for us gets the job done. Just like
Yeah,
yeah, like your spells, your potions, and all that good stuff. Does the same for you. And I mean, again, it goes back to it's just another side of the same coin. It really is.
exactly. Exactly. You figure out what it is that works for you. And everybody has to do that for themselves. Everybody has a different trigger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of. I think you remember, like when we went to Las Vegas. Josh did the, finding your magic. And he had like 7 or 8 different scenarios or whatever, and you have like rotating tables. Um, I got to tell you, that thing, I was not prepared for that. I didn't have a script. I didn't have anything. I'm just like, what the heck am I going to talk to these people about? And
But
kind of spur of the moment. Go ahead.
you did really well, though. You
Well,
did
thank you.
very well. I think you had the best table there, and everybody was really, really impressed with everything that you had to say, and what you showed them, and you did really, really well. But it was hard for you. That was a lot of people, a lot of expectations. You have a lot of different energies. It just was not. It was not a good situation for you.
Yeah, I was a little bit out of my element, I have to admit. And again, it's not the first time that Josh has put me into some strange situations, and what have.
Uh,
hey, at
Oh,
least you didn't have the masked Marvel for.
oh, Brillock. Oh man. Oh, geez. I'd rather just have my face blocked out on on the video than to wearing kind of a disguise. I just felt like, I'll just look like I'm part of the witness protection program. And but
yeah, that's what you looked like. You did. He looked like maybe the Unabomber. Um, Chuck, you looked like a super villain. It was fabulous.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah, You rocked it.
That's why I told Chuck.
Well, look what they had to compare me to.
Oh, jeez. No, that's what I told Chuck. I said, hey, it took the magic of editing. That's all I got to say. But yeah, Chuck came across as being, Chuck or Uncle Chuckie. I mean, I got to say it. I got to give Josh his props. He really did capture you,
Well,
with what he did. And you did. I agree with
I was sitting next to, here we are. We're around this table. I'm sitting next to this fellow with this mask.
Who is this masked man?
I am never going to live this down. No one will take me seriously again. They're not supposed to take me seriously now, but there's such a thing as being really not taken seriously. And there I am next to the masked Marvel here, and with his rock on his head.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Josh actually made you look human. I mean, it was just you came across.
That's a compliment. Oh, thank you.
I am of the night.
No, I mean, really, that's Shelley's right. I mean, you really did. You got the show, my friend. You really did. You did a great job. You really did.
And that is not how I saw it at all.
We are always our own worst critics.
Yes.
I mean, am I wrong, Shelley?
Do what now?
Aren't we our own worst critics?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
I'll give you an example. You probably noticed this too. Like when you're doing broadcast, and you start hearing, you play it back, you're able to pick out every little mistake. I should have done this. I should have done that. But to you think, oh, this is just a cluster. I mean, this is just an abortion. But to other people, they say, wow, that was absolutely fantastic. We love the show. And you're like, okay then.
Well, I remember when I was doing radio, and I always hated to listen to recordings of myself. I really did. I hated the sound of my voice.
Oh yeah, same here.
But the really embarrassing things had nothing to do with that. One time, I was at a thing at the Theosophical Society, and for some inexplicable reason, somebody asked a question about Buddhism, and I answered it. And people were impressed with my answer. And for 10 minutes, I'm holding forth on Buddhism, and there are real Buddhists in this group. And any minute now, somebody's going to say something, the ground's going to open up, and I'm going to fall into it. Because I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Well, you must have known something.
I don't know. Afterwards, people were thanking me for what I was saying and how learned I was and everything. And I went, the next time I was in the library there, I said to my friend, the librarian, I said, I had no idea what I was talking about. I mean, I was totally winging this, and I maybe read a couple of books, but I had no idea what I was saying.
Yeah.
And there were people there who actually knew what I was supposed to be talking about, and they were just letting me go. I'm thinking, any second now, how do I get out of this?
But the Buddhists were good with it. They were like, okay, he knows enough. They didn't correct you or come later.
They thought I was brilliant.
Wow.
And you're just talking out your ass.
Off the top of my head, I was spewing hot air, like I normally do.
Okay. Did you realize you were spewing hot air, or do you feel like something
knew I was spewing
took
hot
over?
Air. I had no idea what I was saying. All I knew is I have no idea what I'm talking about, and they're asking me questions. I have no idea how to answer them, so I'm just winging this.
And basically, the Buddhists were just happy not to be called upon.
I think that may have been the case, yes. Or they were just being nice and didn't want to make Chuck look like a bigger fool than he already was.
Oh man, incredible! That's hilarious.
It's like I always said to my mother: try not to look like more of an idiot than God made you.
Glad you heeded her advice. Okay. But anyway, we've been on the air for about 2 hours now. Do you guys want to?
This has been fun.
Oh yeah, I
Yes,
really enjoyed it. Yeah, we need to make this a part 2. But
We're
before
going
we
to have to
close,
do this again, yeah.
oh yes, yes.
I mean, it's a lot more interesting than just the two of us.
Oh yeah, God,
oh,
I get bored
thank you.
listening to this guy. Oh yeah,
I
next time we need to
have
talk
Hey,
to.
I
about
have to tolerate Brad. I mean, this is.
that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh yeah, next time we need to talk about the Mandela effect. My favorite subject. Oh,
Oh man, yeah.
Ah!
did it
Listen,
not
why
freak
it's
you out?
nonsense.
Oh, I was. Shelley and I had a conversation about this the other week, and yeah, she was kind of freaked out. But we'll discuss this on another day. Yeah, again, this has been fantastic. So, Shelley, before we close the show here, let's go ahead and tell everybody how they can get a hold of you
Yeah,
and
give the
ask questions.
contact information again.
Yes.
At nevermoremysticalarts@gmail.com. And just, you know, just send me a quick email about what you're interested in, or something like that. It doesn't have to be anything formal, just so I can read it. And yeah, we can go from there.
Yeah.
Or or if they would rather go through you and then you tell me what's up, I'm good with that too. We've done it both ways.
That is correct. That is correct. But yeah, Shelley, it's been an absolutely fantastic show tonight, and I really do appreciate you coming on the air with us. I mean,
Thank you
you
so
did a great
much.
job.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Thank you for
and
having me. I really appreciate it.
oh yeah, and like I said, I will continue to keep you updated on the money potion because I kid you not, every day I always find something new. You know, when I experiment with the stuff, and it's really been the perfect sample to use with my machines in order to conjure up, money or any kind of financial situation. And I just cannot say enough about it. And you even got the Uncle Chuckie Good Housekeeping seal of approval tonight.
Yes, yes.
Messy house seal
No
of
ride.
approval.
All right. Well, it's like I said, it's been great here, Chuck. I mean, is there anything you want to add before we call it the evening? Or
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
all right.
Okay. Very well, folks. This has been Doc, me, and Shelley Wright, and it has been great fun. So, in 3, I will close this. 1, 2, 3. Good night.